All right, everybody. This is episode 31 of the Understable Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and joining me today is my co host, Brandon, and a very special guest who I will bring in just a moment. We have PDJ number 69424, rated 1013, sponsored by Prodigy, OTB, Tree Love, and Daddy Mac Dies, the one, the only Luke Humphries. Luke, welcome to the show.
And thanks for having me. Honored to be here with you fellas. Yeah, it's been a wild ride these past few days, but I appreciate you guys making time to have me on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great. Real quick, if you don't mind giving a quick social media shout out to where our fans can find you: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the whole nine.
Totally. Yeah. LukeHumphries.dg on Instagram. Just my name on YouTube and Facebook, obviously. I think they only allow you to have it, so many friends, but yeah, hit me up there. I try to get back to everybody that I can, stay in those DMs, hitting you all back, answering questions. So feel free to reach out. I love talking to fans.
Awesome. So, as I mentioned off the air, do you have one quick story you can tell us just to kick this off?
Yeah, man. I mean, the best story is just one that we're living in real life. Kevin Jones drove throughout the night to be here in Dallas today. He's sleeping at some gas station couple minutes up the road so that we can play Debo's here in a few and practice for this tournament. I'm playing a local here this week. So
Oh, nice.
that man he's got the craziest sleeping schedule, driving schedule of anybody I know. He'll start drives at 10 p.m. It just doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I do the same thing when I drive. I like driving at night, just less traffic on the road, less people to deal with.
If you can stay up, more power to you.
Well, night shifter here, so that's easy.
Yeah, I definitely cannot stay up driving that late at night. It's crazy for him to be able to do that and then, have like a crazy schedule like that and then have all that success on the course.
Dude, yeah, his schedule is one of a kind. He's one of a kind. I think it's kind of just a match for, what he's got going on. But that's what's happening here in Dallas, man.
All right, so last weekend, Las Vegas Challenge. The saying goes, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," right? But for you, I feel like that's not the case. After 4 rounds of the tournament, finishing tied for fourth with an average rating of 1,049, I can only imagine you're trying to take this momentum into your next event.
No doubt, man.
Take us through your 4 rounds at Vegas.
Yeah, you said I'm 10-13 at the moment, so hopefully that's going up. You mentioned the average rating in Vegas. That should be a nice bump. There was no expectations is how it started. Vegas for me last year was disappointing. It's one of the only cuts I've ever missed, which, it gave me a little fire coming back. I flew out. I kind of pictured myself having a bad time again, so I didn't take it very seriously at all. I didn't bring my van, didn't bring Hogan. I was just going to go there, play this, get some tour points, hopefully, and then get back to Texas and start what I consider to be the tour. Vegas for me was the kind of a one-off, so no expectations. I show up the first whole practice round playing with Kev and Kale, and I ace with one of our new discs coming out, FX3, right there on the first hole. So immediately, I talked to Kale. I was like, vibes are going to be different. I promise I'm going to try and make vibes different. And then vibes were immediately different. So it was meant to be, man. I had good vibes immediately after that. Played 3 rounds a day for the first 2 days I was there. Russ woke me up at like 5 o'clock one morning, and we watched the sun come up on the Infinite course, which was fantastic. Played 2 more before noon. So I was enjoying golfing, and it did feel very different. So going into the first round, I knew I was going to get to play with Nate Perkins, Zach Johnson, and Oregon Scott, which was just an amazing group to get to play with. So, man, it was a good week all around. That first round can matter so much, and to have buddies that I hadn't seen in a while, and just to be able to play a little golf was awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing the impact that the energy you put off has on how well you play. Like for me with the battalion team this year, I'm just super fired up to come out swinging and shoot my best rounds ever. But sounds like you brought the energy with you to Vegas to really do well.
Yeah, I think that you said something about Prodigy. I think that's got a lot to do with it as well. We've got so many good things going on at Prodigy right now, whether it's the plastic or the team or the sponsorships, the tournaments that we're getting down on, everything just seems to be headed in a really good direction right now. And I think the plastic is the culmination of that. We've got the Falcor, the reverb, the distortion. We have fantastic discs coming out, some of the best discs that I've ever seen or thrown. And that's really exciting too. So during one of those practice rounds, Kale gives me a brand new Falcor. They weren't available at the time. I start throwing it during my practice round, and I end up throwing it the majority of shots on almost every course. Every distance driver I threw for the majority of the week was a brand new Falcor that Kale had given me. And it's such a trustworthy disc that, man, it just can't help but get you jacked up to throw it.
Yeah, I'm waiting on my package today to come that has the reverb and I think the distortion in it, and then all the ProFlex.
Dude,
It's supposed to be here today. I can't wait.
I'm stoked for you, man. It's gonna be fantastic, bro. Your game is gonna level up. I promise.
Awesome. So what was one of the biggest hurdles you had to overcome at Las Vegas?
I think I think it was the third round, really. I was fourth card, but I was with some guys who were also, really not supposed to be in a situation like that. A couple of young guys, Cade Philman Holla, Parker from California, and then Chris. Can't remember his last name at the moment, but they were all young guys trying to make it on tour. So we were all really feeling the nerves that round. And I think staying patient, because I had a slow start, and then just, elevating myself above the group to a degree was what was the hardest thing to do there. But that's something I had practiced in the off season. I had been working on just shooting my shot and not worrying about what was going on around me. That third round, to be able to come out with an 8 under was my best round of the tournament, I'd say. Even though there was a 13, that 13, it felt easy with Kev and Calvin on the card. We were just vibing. That was, we were all in the zone. Yeah, that, 13, it felt easy. That 8 felt way harder. That's the one that I'm proud of.
Awesome. And then when you get into a situation where, like, you can sense your card mates are struggling, and maybe you're struggling because of that energy and that vibe, are you the kind of person that'll help motivate your card mates to maybe perform better, if you will?
Yeah, definitely trying to get people fired up. If it's a good shot, let them know it's a good shot. We're all in it together at the end of the day. Third round, none of us are playing to win the tournament that round. We're all just playing for position. It's moving day. And vibing is a real thing, like we showed the next day with Kevin, Calvin, and Ezra and I. I think we were probably 20 under par through 6 holes of the course or something as a group. So
nice.
That is a real thing. And you can create something, by encouragement. You can create that for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned that.
I remember. Oh, go ahead, man. You
mentioned that 8 under was probably your highlight of the tournament. During that round, what would you say was like your most memorable maybe shot from that round?
It was the putt on 17. That course finishes with like a really weird flex forehand shot. I don't know if you remember, through the little gate, I had missed about a 20-footer on the hole before for my birdie, it's a gimme birdie hole 16 on that course. And so I came into 17, threw a good tee shot, and ended up at circle's edge, and I just wasn't going to miss another putt. And to bang that one, it led to the birdie on 18 as well. So I finished with a birdie on all 4 rounds, which I think kind of vaults you into a little bit of a positive feel for the next day too. I think that's really huge. It's just one hole in your entire round, but it is the last one, and it's the one you think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that 17 birdie, and then to get 18 there, and then, to get on the phone and figure out that I'm actually playing with one of my best friends, and 2 of my best friends really. And then, one of the best players in the world, Ezra. It's fantastic, man. What feels, bro?
Right.
I was watching the last round live at home, and it was just so crazy, like the round you had put together for that final round, because I was playing, I was watching, and then, I feel like for the final like 9 holes, they were like, we got the action on the lead card and all that stuff. And then they're like, oh, we're going to cut to Luke Humphries. Oh, here he is, another birdie. Hey, here's Luke Humphries. He just birdied again. It was like birdie. It was so awesome to watch because we had kind of been conversing with you a little bit before the tournament started, I believe, about having us get together and having you on the podcast and just like, and then watching you have that success. I was just like, this is so awesome. Like, I can't wait to talk to him about the success that he found on the course and like how he found that success. Like, this is super awesome for him. And I can't wait to have him on and like talk about those things.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's not an accident either. About a month ago, I posted that I was taking my practice putting seriously for the first time in my career. And immediately you see results from that. Just a few minutes a day of actual focus, trying to stay consistent and stuff. And immediately it pays off. I don't think it works like that typically, but it makes me hungry to do even more and to figure out what I actually can do, because I'm never going to be the guy that throws it the furthest, but this game is 80% mental. And if you allow yourself to be confident in those situations, it's crazy what you can achieve.
As the final round came to a close and we saw that epic playoff with Gibson and our guy Gannon, did you stick around to watch that?
Oh yeah. I was I had walked like over a little island onto the green of 18. So Kale and Kevin and I were like in a spot you're not supposed to be able to get to. So I had a great view of what was going down. I think, as Gannon threw the shot, I was standing next to Kev, his shot into 18, and it looked fantastic. It was just barely hot. It missed the top of that hill by less than a foot, it appeared to me. And if it had caught those chips, it stopped dead and he had a tap in for the win. So I had a great view of that. That was amazing. We knew they were playing 1, 3, 5, 7. So we immediately sprinted to hole 1, and I had a perfect view there. We sprinted to 3, we sprinted to 5. I was sprinting around with Paige Pierce and Kevin Jones, basically. I mean, Paige was leading the charge of the spectators running from hole to hole, which was pretty funny to see, but also awesome to see her stoke level for what was going on. Yeah, we were so excited for what was happening. I mean, last year, disc golf exploded. During the off season, it seems like it doubled again. The excitement going into this was unbelievable, unbelievable. So to have it culminate into a playoff, like the people there, everybody was buzzing. No one could stop smiling. We were running, we had side cramps, but we couldn't stop smiling. It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Do you think that this could be a statement from Drew Gibson? Last year signed that lifetime contract with Infinite to now coming out swinging and winning Las Vegas?
Yeah, man, unbelievable. It's hard to think that he could continue on the pace that he finished with. His last round of 2021 was unbelievable. He hit 90-footer after 90-footer, and then there was a 3-month wait, and we replayed those shots like a million times. The expectation for Drew was so high, and for him to come out and do what he did is just a testament to how hard he worked in the off season. I mean, the guy's a player. He's a gamer. He's got one of the best, if not the best, backhands in the game, and his putt's phenomenal now. It's fantastic to see what he did, man. I'm a Drew fan for sure.
Sweet.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I wanted to ask you one more thing about Vegas before we kind of start, moving into some other things. You had mentioned before that you had no expectations and that, you were just kind of, there for the points. You didn't expect much. Like, why is that? Is it like, maybe the courses, or just, it's so early in the season and you're just not sure? Because you never feel like you're like ready for the season. I feel like, like season comes around, you're like, I wish I could have done more. You know what I mean? So like, what drove that mentality?
Well, it wasn't my lack of preparedness, because like I said earlier, I've been practicing more than any off season that I've had, which are, there's 2 or 3 off seasons maybe that I've ever had, but this one I really dialed my lack of preparedness. It was just my lack of good play on that course and my overall feel about Vegas in general. No offense to anybody from Vegas, but like I don't like that type of town, all the lights and the craziness.
Okay.
I grew up in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Tokyo, Japan. two of the five biggest cities in the world. And I went there not of my own accord. So I don't love big cities and the lights and the buzz and stuff. I can be around for a little while, but it's not my jam. I like forests. I like rivers and streams and plains, and I like a little space. So the whole town gives me like a little bit of a bad vibe. So I was just, I wasn't expecting much.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
It's
fair answer. Fair answer.
Yeah, it's personal. And nothing against Vegas. It's a fantastic town. And I've got some different feels coming away from it this year. Now I've got some good feels.
Yeah. Awesome. So Vegas is over. What's the rest of your schedule look like?
I'm going to play every Pro Tour and I think every Silver Series throughout the year. We're going to run skins matches at the majority of those. We're also going to have a handful of extra skins matches that go down at Eagles Crossing, which is, of course, I'm welcome to talk about as well. Best course in the world. And we're going to have a finale there as well. For every skins winner throughout the season, they'll get an invite, and whether they can make it or not, yet to be seen, but they will have an invite to play for maybe the most money that any disc golfer's ever played for.
Holy cow.
So
that's exciting.
Are you coming to Idlewild again this year?
I think that Idlewild is during the Sula Open in Norway. Don't quote me on this, but I believe that I have a plane flight that goes out before Idlewild kicks off. So
bummer.
Unfortunate. I know. I'd love to be back. That course is amazing. Like I said, I love the woods, and that place has them.
Yeah.
But the way the schedule worked out, we'll see how many pros actually make it to Idlewild. It's going to end up being not as many, I don't think. There's quite a few people signed up for the Norway Silver Series event this year, the Sula Open. So as far as I know, Rick Wysocki's the only one signed up for both of those.
Interesting.
Oh, wow. So you recently went on a trip to Mexico with Kevin Jones. Can you tell us a couple things about that? How'd that go?
Yeah, I did. We're sitting on some footage that yet to come out, but it went fantastic, man. We were able to do some clinics with some groups of kids, some groups of adults, and Kev was able to speak to them in the fluent language, which was fantastic to see. I don't speak Spanish very well, but to watch Kev interact with them, they could feel the love, and they were absolutely in awe of what he could do. The course set up really nice for a pro to throw some high-level shots, and he threw some ridiculous shots, and minds were blown. I think that the Mexican disc golf community is going to explode partially because of what Kev did there and the group that went down there. And that's a big thanks to Prodigy Disc, who helped us figure out how to get there and installed 18 baskets at the course, the first pro level course in Mexico.
So basically Kev threw about 18 grenades and then 18 jump putts.
Yeah, a bunch of jump putts, a bunch of hyzer flip bombs. He threw one forehand roller that went 500 plus feet.
Oh, goodness.
He got up and down. And that one blew my mind, but I know that the 80 spectators were also mind blown. Fantastic people down there, though. Such a good community of happy, interesting, eclectic people. I can't wait to go back down.
Awesome.
The whole trip was based around disc golf, but we were able to go out with the community every night, experience the nightlife and the food, and that was also really cool. San Luis Potosí isn't like a tourist town, so people aren't going there to hang out for the most part. The Airbnb that we stayed in was like pretty ridiculous. It was $25 a day. And it's a direct flight from Dallas. I can use this as a little marketing thing right here. Tangamanga Park, the place that we installed this course, and which is going to have another course in it, is the second biggest park in Mexico. It's absolutely gigantic. It's got something like 30 soccer fields, 20 tennis courts, walking space. Like, there is so much space. There's a herd of lambs and goats that live in the park and just like cruise around and, keep it mowed or whatever. This is like how they mow, is they just have some sheep and goats around. It's an amazing place. So much going on, people walking, playing, laughing. The whole place is awesome, and you can get there for a really cheap flight from Dallas, and it's a high level course. I think we'll see more people making little trips down there and little vacations out of it in the future.
Yeah, now that disc golf is there, it sounds like as far as parks go, it sounds like paradise. Honestly.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. Roger Shepard, the guy who found that park and who really had the vision behind it, is yeah, kudos to him. He's done something fantastic down there, and it's a whole team effort. There's a bunch of guys down there that I can't remember everybody's name at the moment, but big time team effort to get that in place. And there's actually one of the best amateurs in Mexico is here in Dallas for a tournament happening this weekend. Beto. He played a 4 under par at Tangamanga, one of the best rounds that's been played there, and he's come here for the tournament in the United States this weekend, which is awesome. So, good luck to him. Hopefully, he tears it up.
That's awesome. Do you think that this course you guys helped put in or designed all that could be eventually a tour stop?
Man, that would be amazing. The course itself, fully capable of handling the Pro Tour. I mean, it's high level shots through the woods, low ceilings. Lots of it you can't really skip, so you've got to air your shots around. Yeah, it's if we could find a way to get people to Mexico cheaply and stuff, I could totally see it happening. It'd be fantastic too. The course is set, and there'll be another one. 2 courses on the same property,
Oh, that's
right
cool.
there. Yeah, the stay would be really cheap. I mean, logistically, it just you'd have to figure out a few things, but I think the Mexican community would show up in droves if we did that. The place Tangamanga is right in between Guadalajara, Mexico City, and the really pretty city that I can't remember the name of. So it's right there. I think it starts with an M, maybe. Monterrey.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Apparently the mountains around Monterrey are fantastic, and they have one of the best disc golf communities in Mexico too. So look forward to going there as well. They have a bunch of super disc heads who knew like every disc, plastic, everything that we were throwing already. It was cool to see.
Cool. Sounds like a destination spot, really, especially for us disc golfers that don't travel and want to get out.
Totally. Couple hour flight from Dallas, not bad at all.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah. I can see a lot of married couples, they're going to Mexico for a honeymoon or something, and then maybe leave the wife at the resort or the husband and go play this new disc golf course for a day, maybe. I don't know, or go together. Sounds romantic, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. We had a 4-bedroom, 3-bath Airbnb for $25 a day.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
25 a day, man. We spend down there for $150.
You can't even get a hotel for that these days.
No.
Not at all. All right, so let's kind of move forward a little bit. Let's talk about your career, Luke. Your first Open win was in 2017. You won Am Worlds in 2018. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, please. 2019, you turned pro and achieved Rookie of the Year title. But if I have to guess, your story does not start there. Take us through where everything began for you. Where did you start throwing discs at? Tell us your story, man.
All right, I'm going to move the camera a little bit because the story really starts. Is he around?
Oh, there's Hogan.
Yeah,
the Goodest boy.
Goodest boy is here.
Yeah, the story, it truly does start with the Goodest boy. I was playing tons of golf, normal golf, for 5 years probably before I picked up disc golf. And I had gotten a dog. I was in Wichita, Kansas, finishing up my undergraduate at Wichita State. And I was leaving him at the house for 6 hours a day, and it wasn't cool. And I wasn't cool with it either. And so I tried to figure out something we could do together. And about that time, Trey Thompson, one of my best friends, asked me to go play disc golf. And I talked smack on it the whole time. I think this is like 2014, basically. So I probably played like 5 or 6 times in 2014. Hated every time, but it was something that me and Hogan could do together. And eventually I got a couple birdies. Like, I remember my first birdie. I was 26 years old. Like, I remember the hole. I remember the shot. Like, I remember everything about it. A lot of people, they don't remember when they started or their first throws or whatever. Like, I remember sucking not that long ago. I was terrible. I hated disc golf, and like most things, when you're bad at them, you want to do better. And then disc golf, it's special. It becomes something you can't live without, and it quickly became that. I moved to Dallas after I graduated Wichita, um, and the job I was working wasn't really fulfilling. I wasn't loving what I was doing. I was working in an office and in a sales gig, and through the local community, I was playing a ton of cash games. Dallas is one of the best cities in the world for this. I've never heard of a better city. We have 5 to 6 cash games per day that happen in the DFW area. Sometimes on a Saturday, there'll be 10 cash games. And then there's a flex start C tier 5 or 6 times a week here. So if you're looking to get rated rounds in, there's no better spot than Dallas, Texas. So I'd get off a little early, I'd go play a cash game. And that just snowballed into yeah, I mean, Nate Perkins, Emerson Keith. When you start playing with killers and you're able to hang with them, it makes you think that maybe this is something you could do too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can speak from experience about Texas a little bit. I went to Abilene back in 2019, and I played the Wild Hair event, and Emerson was there. I think he won pro, if I'm not mistaken. But I didn't make it to DFW at all. But I definitely played a couple courses in Abilene, and it was just a great scene overall. I loved how the community just chipped in for everything, and just very active in the disc golf community.
Yeah, it's insane. We've got a Facebook group, the DFW mini list. Most people call them leagues.
Yep.
The people around DFW call them minis. That's our name for them, and that's like what the disciples of the DFW disc golf community kind of call them, is the mini list. So yeah, that's something that if you're a player, you're in the know on. And if you're a player, you're definitely showing up to Monday Madness, which is the best cash game in the United States, to my knowledge. So like $28 to get in, all in, plus the side bet. Winner takes over 50% of the pot. So it's just killers that show up. There's no AMs. There's one division. And Emerson's probably won 100 of them in his day, probably cashed out for over $50,000 at this place.
Wow.
I'm sure he hit aces for 4 figures at this place. I hit a forehand ace for $1,500 with Perkins, and the guy who created it, Kenny G, who just moved to Hawaii, actually. It's just that's where you test yourself, man. And when you could play at Monday Madness, which is what I started doing, I started winning, won a couple weeks in a row, maybe a few weeks in a row, and I was like, dude, this is something I could do. And then actually Matt Mayo was like the last straw. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Matt Mayo, but a friend of mine that passed away in 2018. He was in a van, rolled, eventually died, but he had been playing on tour a little bit. Just a super happy guy who was a DFW local, and came back and told me stories and showed me pictures. And he was the guy who eventually, I would say, was the straw that broke the camel's back, and was like, fine, I'll do it. And then he passed away, and it was a for sure thing. Doing it for Matt to a degree, doing it because I'd always wanted to go pro in something too. I skipped my chance to play college sports. I just wanted to mess around. I had some offers to play soccer. I could have ran track. I could have done some things, but I wanted to pull pranks and stay up late and play Halo. So I kind of botched that chance, which, it all happens for a reason. That all led me here, it feels like exactly where I'm supposed to be at this point.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
There's definitely a sense of peace when you feel like you know where you're supposed to be at, and you're in that spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was 34 when I figured that out.
I know how that goes. I'm right there. But disc golfing definitely gets more addictive when you start being able to manipulate the flight of the disc and just to push that extra 30 feet out of a drive. It's like, man, I can do that. That's awesome. Now I'm going to keep trying to improve that. Just something about that feel.
Exactly. You said it. To manipulate it just how you want it, it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah. You've been involved with OTB and GK Pro for a few years now, if I'm not mistaken. How did the what led to the development of these skins matches and kind of setting all that up?
Man, COVID, and Arkansas opening up first. Um, I got the call that Arkansas was going to be the first state to sanction events back since I think that it was like March to July or August or something. So there was like a 4, 5, 6 month period where no events worldwide were going down. And then all of a sudden Arkansas opens up, something about less cases, whatever it may have been. I remember hearing about it at 10 o'clock p.m. And 10 minutes after that, I had a message to Matt Lloyd, who was the coordinator for Arkansas. He was like, let's do this. I had a message to Kim Jones, owner of Persimmon Ridge Disc Golf Course. Fantastic place, one of the best courses in the world. And both of them were completely down to make it happen and to get disc golf back. So we scheduled 2 events in back-to-back weekends. B tiers sanctioned. Prodigy got behind it, got me plastic immediately. Talked to GK Pro, who I didn't have a great relationship with. I mean, we were friends. We saw each other on tour, but until that point, I'd been for a little bit doing some work for them with Kevin early on in the 2020 season at the Memorial, and some other stuff. I actually hit them up and offered them the skins gig essentially first. They were in Pennsylvania, pretty far away, weren't able to come down. So GK Pro was my next call. And they were like 110% down. They were like in their vans already because they had heard that we were having the event. They were going to come film it no matter what, is what they told me. So like immediately they were down. And Kim and Steve let them stay on the property. So all we had to do was just figure out some other stuff to film while we were there. There was no disc golf content coming out at that time. There was no, I guess there were some vlogs, but there was no course stuff. No one was playing any disc golf, no competitive rounds at all. So
Right.
if we could get just anything competitive going on during that week, it was going to kill, is what I thought. And sat there for a whole day and called everybody on the PDGA disc golf a business. If you're affiliated with disc golf and you run a business, your name is in the PDGA. And I called every single person on that list, asked them if they wanted to be part of skins. And like 18 different people were down for that first skins, like Tina, Oakley. And that's just one of the names that I remember, but I called everybody. Tons of people were down, and OTB was especially down. And immediately they were like, we love what you're doing. Here's, $1,200, I think, like right away. Just here, use this. Thank you for what you're doing with disc golf. And we want to be part of, this. So immediately the boys at OTB were down. I didn't know Danny or Aaron, Greg, any of the boys over there that well yet. But that moment, it says a lot about who they are and what they wanted to do in disc golf. And yeah, that's how that came about, man. It's crazy how it came about. It was random. The first one, we called it Tour Series because like, oh man, it'd be cool to do this, maybe a little bit more. So we were like, eventually, we didn't call it just like a skins match. We called it Tour Series Skins on purpose and thought that this could become something that GK Pro did.
Personally, I love watching the skins matches. It's just a whole different vibe around the players. They're talking trash the whole time, and you got guys like who was it? Idlewild last year.
Idlewild last year.
I can't remember who it was. Just real quiet. Clemonade.
Clemens?
Yeah, he just was like super quiet the whole round. Didn't really tell you a whole lot, and I think he won the majority of the skins.
Yeah. If he's not getting made fun of mid-stroke, he's probably doing pretty well. That's a good way to do it too. People who don't jab a lot won't get jabbed a lot, and you can play, a little freer golf that way.
Right. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed that content being added to, the disc golf stuff that I watch, and it was just real cool to have that filled in. Are there plans to continue the skins matches this year, or are you focusing more on touring itself?
No. This skins matches. Skins matches is something that I love and I'm passionate about, and we'll definitely keep doing. Collaborating with disc golfers and showing the general disc golf public even more disc golfers is something I can't wait to do. You know, we've had our stars on, Calvin, Kevin. We love, you know, the people that you all love, but we also want to show other people and give other people a chance to express their personalities and to get the love from the fans as well. So expect some new faces this year, and some fantastic games as well. There's a lot of people out there that nobody knows about that are amazing disc golfers and amazing people as well.
Absolutely. If I'm not mistaken, I keep saying that. What was the last ace hit on skins? Was that the Kevin Jones one?
Yeah, it's the Kevin Jones slip base, man.
Wow.
That's like episode 6 or 7 or something like that. And we just hosted episode 51 in Vegas. So it's been a long time.
Someone's gonna get a payday.
Somebody's getting a payday. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out if we should cap it at 10 and start to build that, you know, that next ace pot, because 10's a lot of cash and we don't want to be empty afterwards. So
Correct.
I don't know exactly what we're gonna do. We're kind of thinking about what's what, but it won't go any less than 10 till somebody hits it for sure. And there's been some good runs. Andrew Presnell has a band hit in Arkansas. Vino Makala has a band hit in Music City, and there's been a bunch of good runs. Matty O's got a band hit in New Jersey. I mean, there's been some runs. It's just hard, man. When it's 5 figures, it's not as easy, dude. I promise.
Right?
Yeah, I gotta say, once I found the OTB skins through GK Pro, like, 'cause I was a little late to the party on these videos, and when I found them, I binge watched so many of them. You're an amazing host, by the way. You know, I gotta say that. Gotta get out of the way. You do a great job, and in like Mark said, like, seeing these players like open up is so crazy, because I had no idea Calvin Heimberg was so funny. I had no idea that he was the way that he was, because I thought he was like so reserved based on like his mannerisms on the course, and then he's out there like saying all these things to all these other professionals. I had no idea. It was so funny to see.
Yeah, it's fantastic that personalities get to come out like that, and that people can become such a fan of Calvin. I'm a huge fan of Calvin. I fanboy Calvin all the time. Like, that's my dude, and it's amazing that our program could show people that, and we can't wait to make that. You know, who's the next Calvin is what I'm saying. You know, that you don't know about these people yet until we show you.
Right.
Outside of disc golf, I have heard that you have another hobby, and I heard that hobby is rock collecting. So I actually think that's kind of cool, because my sister is also an avid rock collector. We went to Michigan's Upper Peninsula, and we went together, and everywhere we went, we had to spend an extra 30 to 40 minutes looking for rocks. So what led to that as a hobby? And I've also heard that you're an avid golfer. So let's go 1-2. Talk about the rocks and then talk about the golf.
Yeah. Well, first of all, that Upper Peninsula area of Michigan has some fire, man. I haven't been up there yet, but there's a rock called a Uperlite that you can only find at night with a low wave UV light. You might know that. Cool stuff. You can cab it, you know, and then under black lights or in a festival situation, it's kind of shining out. Very cool. Rocks came about, though, at an early age. I mean, I was picking up rocks when I was 5. And there was a portion of time between the ages of 15 and 25, probably, where I was off the rocks. They weren't cool or whatever. Maybe I would just forgotten about them. But the second I got to Arkansas to do some training for the job, I eventually moved to Dallas for. I went to a friend's house and he showed me this collection. He was like, you know, this piece here, I'm at a friend's house, but I dug this piece here, and it's just a, you know, quartz cluster. And I saw some of these at my friend's house, and he was like, oh yeah, we go dig those an hour away. Wait, what do you mean you go dig these an hour away? Like, huh? Like, that didn't register. And then I went and did it, man, and it was over. Hook, line, sinker, bro. If you dig crystals out of the ground, you will be a rock hound. I guarantee it. It's a next level experience. You don't understand. Like, they come out of the ground crystal clear. We're not chipping away to make those points. That's nature. That's how silicon dioxide forms in nature. That's what quartz is, silicon dioxide. It's something that I was able to learn at my own pace. I wasn't forced to do it. You know, it's been a hobby of mine. I get on the internet and read about them, got my books and read about them, but it was at my own pace, which is huge. All the other things that I learned in school were, you know, it just felt forced, and this one didn't. And it's something that's got so much variation, so much color, so many structures. It's just, you can stay curious forever on minerals. And I think that's what really hooks me to them, as well as just digging them, being out in the middle of nowhere in Utah, digging geodes of purple quartz and purple chalcedony. It's just like, dude, I promise if you do it, it's over. You'll be around.
That one that you just showed off is that one is like super impressive, because like that one right there, like for people who are, you know, people aren't going to see this, they're going to be listening. It looks like a cluster of crystals that you would see in a cave in like a Pokemon game or like Final Fantasy or something. And you would think that those like only exist in like gift shops, but you know, you dug it right out of the ground.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It came out just like that, sprayed off with water, and it's see-through, man.
Yeah.
It's next level. So that's the rocks. And then the golf, it partners with disc golf so well, to be able to just go to the links with a couple buddies. And there's a bunch of guys on tour that play that I love to golf with. Kevin, of course, but Rick Wysocki, Emerson Keith, Paul Ulibarri, Ezra Aderhold can absolutely rip the cover off the golf ball. It's amazing what he can do. There's a bunch of us out here, and it's such a hard game that I think playing it dials you in a little bit better for disc golf too. And this is no joke. Kevin Jones, during the 2020 Vermont, it's 2020. Either way, we're up there for Vermont. It's during COVID, so we have to stay by ourselves for like a week or some week and a half, and we get golf memberships at Stowe Country Club for $350, which sounds kind of expensive. But Kevin Jones played 18 rounds of disc golf in 1 week. That's over 2 a day, and then he won the tournament the next weekend, the Pro Tour. Took down Paul Macbeth and Chris Dickerson at the course that they love. It was absolutely incredible, and a testament to, you know, the golf and how complicated it is, and how then when you go to disc golf, it's just simple, man. You just hit the lines, you hit the putts. Like trying to hit a 25-footer with 3 feet of break feels impossible on a golf green, but you can break it down 25 feet in a disc golf setting, and I think it just, like, the simplicity of it accompanies golf so well. Yeah. And that's how I came to the game too. Like, I liked birdies before I was a disc golfer. So, I mean, of course, I'm like birdies here too.
Going back to the rock thing, it seems like that's just a very peaceful, calming, relaxing hobby to do, where you're literally just out in nature and just enjoying creation and everything that's around us.
Amen, bro. You said it. That's exactly what it is. It's getting in with the nature. It's being on a rugged Oregon coast with the waves coming in, picking up bright orange agates, you know, or it's in the middle of a forest in Arkansas pulling out ice clear quartz. There's nothing like it, dude.
Absolutely.
Gets me the goosebumps, bro. It does, man.
That's awesome. I'm all for like spending time in nature and just being outdoors like that, and just the peacefulness that you feel overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a memory pop up from 2 years ago. I was at this time out in Arizona with James Conrad, his girlfriend Jordan, and Nate Perkins, and we were digging chalcedony at 4th of July Butte in the middle of nowhere. You got to drive on a dirt road an hour to get to this place, but once you're there, you're absolutely humbled, and it's just a spectacle. I think that humbling from nature is something that I think we all really seek. And when you feel it, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's part of the reason, you know, I play the game of disc golf. And I think everyone who plays disc golf kind of feels that way too. You know, you're outside. You could be inside on your phone doing nothing, but no, instead we're outside. We're out in nature. We're playing a game, or, you know, out with friends.
Well said. Yep, exactly.
Pro tips are brought to you by Hazy Shade Disc Golf and more. Go to hazyshade.com and check out their selection of discs, hats, bags, and other accessories you need on the course. This week's pro tip comes from one of the fan questions from James Lessie, and I'm sorry if I butchered that. He says, "Congratulations on a
Is Lisi?
Lisi." Okay, I'm terribly sorry about that. Congratulations on a fantastic run at LVC. My question pertains to the mental side of the game. What advice can you give to players on how to act and what mindset they need to have when things aren't going so well on the course?
Yeah, this goes back to that third round that I was talking about. Slow start, not truly vibing with the card yet. You got to simplify it at that point. You can feel overwhelmed. You can feel like, how am I going to birdie this hole? Like thinking about everything that the hole entails. But all you need to do is just simplify it into one shot at a time. And one shot is one target. You know, don't think about anything else. Pick a tree, pick a limb on a tree, pick a leaf on a tree. Make it specific as possible. Your body is so capable of doing incredible things. You be specific, your body will respond specifically. So simplify it one shot at a time. And even if that last shot didn't go well, which is something that we're talking about as well, there's a bunch of people who made their living missing shots. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, these people have a mentality that they're incredible at something, and just because they did something poorly doesn't mean that the future is going to be poor either. So you clean slate it, you short memory, goldfish memory that, and you aim at something and you throw. That was my motto for Vegas. I'm just throwing stuff at stuff. I'm not making it complicated. I'm happens to be in my hand. I'm going to throw it that way. All I can do is pick a spot and throw. The more I think about it, the less I'll be good at it. I think there's a bunch of touring pros who do a really good job getting out of their own way too. If you think about Gavin Rathbun, you think about Terry Roethlisberger, you think about Ezra Aderhold, quick players. They let their bodies react. They've put in the work. There's no work to be done on the course anymore. You can't work on the course. You pick targets and you throw. Simplify it,
Yeah, and then on the flip side of that, yes, what kind of mindset do you have coming down the stretch, knowing that you were playing awesome and that you were probably going to have your best finish at a DGPT event? And I'm assuming he's talking about the final round.
Yeah. Stay hungry. I had some cool shots, but I was going to get left in the dirt. I was playing with killers. If I was happy with what I did on the front nine, I would have lost to Calvin and Kev by 6 strokes. You can't be happy with it. You goldfish memory it again, whether it was good or bad. Just because I eagled that last hole doesn't mean that I can take the rest of this time off. So it's remaining, it's simplifying, it's throwing something at something with intention. And that's it. The work's been done. Just stay on it.
Yeah,
Getting those late birdies is fun. I really love getting those late birdies. It's something I've been decent at my entire career, actually. At the USDGC, the hardest hole on the course is 18. And I don't know if I've ever bogeyed that hole. And I birdied it every round last year. Had to hit missed final round last year. Birdied it every round the year before. But it fits my game, and there's no time like the present. I think I've somewhat been a procrastinator my entire life. I started to get into pro disc golf when I was 32, if that says anything. But when the time is up, the chips are down. You just got to throw shots, and I think I play my best golf coming down the stretch.
I can actually add a question to go along with this from my own thought here. You're coming down to the end of a tournament. You're in the hunt for the win, or even let's just say top 4. How do you keep your emotions in check to be able to not get overwhelmed with, hey, I'm doing good, and then you start throwing bad shots?
Yeah, it's you can breathing is a big deal. I think in situations like that, you won't even notice what you're doing, but you'll be holding your breath or shortening your breath and speeding up your heart rate, which in turn makes you a way less proficient golfer. So taking some 4 or 5 second in, 4 or 5 second out breaths. I was definitely doing some of that final round, but I was also not getting ahead of myself. You're not playing that other person. You're playing the course. And if you have a game plan for the course, it's not it's not as stressful because even 18 at Las Vegas has a ton of water around it. It's kind of a scary hole unless you think about it, because the landing zone is monstrous. If you throw it out and it doesn't flip over and it's got 375 feet of distance, you're safe. You simplify it. It's not rocket science. Don't think about it all. Don't try and envision like the birdie tapping in or something while you're on the tee box. Just do one thing at a time. Hit that cloud that you were looking at the angle that you wanted, and the rest will figure itself out.
All right, Brandon. You know what time it is? Let's get
The
some
rapid fire fan question time.
Let's get some lightning round fan questions going on. Go ahead and kick it off, Brandon.
All right. So Josh asks, he's got 3 questions. So we're gonna kind of quote unquote rapid fire these because we got a lot of fan questions.
All right.
Josh asks, is the clean shaven look a secret weapon that contributed to playing 36 points over your rating?
I'm more aerodynamic, man. I guess, yeah.
I gotta say, before we get into the next one, I watched that video of you shaving the mustache. You got me so good on that. I watched that a few times. When I saw the razor come in, or I died laughing. It was so good.
Nice, man.
All right. So can you tell us what it was like having you and KJ making a round 4 charge from the same card?
It was like a disc golf dream for me, man. Honestly, it was awesome. KJ's my boy, but Calvin as well. And to be with them, 3 under through 3 holes, like I knew it was going to be a good day at that point. And there's nothing like it. Kev's influenced my disc golf game in a positive way. He continues to push me, remind me that I've got what it takes. And it was next level, man. I'm going to remember that one.
His last question, did you feed off each other's energy?
100%, dude. The vibe on that card was real. You could feel it. The cameraman, Evan, that was there said it was his favorite round he's ever filmed. My caddy, Raul, said it was his favorite round. Kev's caddy. Anybody who was there could feel it, man. It was a vibe.
All right, Mark, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay. All right, Billy in Ohio has about 4 questions for you.
All right.
And his first one is, was LVC your best finish for an Elite Series event?
Yeah, it was. Until that point, I had finished, I think, 9th or 10th at Portland last year was my best Pro Tour event that year. And then I finished, I think, 9th at the Hall of Fame Classic National Tour finale, which is where we're playing a major this year. So I had a couple top 10s, but I didn't have a top 5 yet. No, my best.
All right, as a nature guy, as you've expressed a couple times now, having played across the country, what's your favorite terrain or scenery and why?
I'm passionate and partial to Arkansas, but when I went to Oregon seemed like it was Arkansas on steroids. The trees were bigger, the streams were bigger, the rivers were bigger, and then getting to Milo McIver Park for the first time was an unreal experience. That place, it will be special to me forever. That's Oregon.
All right, would you rather get a tournament ace or a bogey-free weekend?
Bogey-free weekend's pretty sick. It means you play some clean golf, but I gotta go with the tournament ace, man. Like, it doesn't happen very often. I think I only have 1 tournament ace. 1. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I got one at a local event.
Nice. Yeah.
Pumped up about that ace too. I was fired up.
With a Prodigy disc?
No, I was actually throwing Trilogy at the time, and I threw a Latitude Recoil.
Oh yeah, so it was that's like a Wraith. That was a bomb.
It was 235 foot hole. I just threw like a Spike Heiser forehand, trying to be close and smash chains. And I didn't actually see it go in. I didn't know it was in until I got down to the basket.
Nice, kind of blind.
Kinda. I mean, you can see the basket from the tee pad, but when I threw my forehand, I stepped off to the left side of the tee pad, and I didn't see the basket after that.
Feels good, huh?
Yeah, Brandon, it was hole 10 at Garfield.
Nice.
Here's a bonus question to go along with that.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping for a certain answer from both of you. You first, Mark. Were you paid into the ace pool when you got your tournament ace?
Absolutely. I watched a buddy of mine learn that lesson the hard way.
Okay. All right. How about you, Luke? Were you paid in?
I was as well. That was Texas State's in 2018 because it was a Rock
Okay.
3. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was not paid in for my one and
No.
only tournament
No.
ace.
Oh my gosh.
I showed up to the tournament and the TD, he was like, "You're good, man. Just whatever, go practice." And I didn't pay online. I had the $5 in my pocket,
Oh
so I just went out and practiced it because I was going to give it to him right there, and then
Yeah.
I ended up acing, and then later, and then I'm thinking, and it's like $5 in my pocket, man.
Oh man, that's a
That was
bummer.
like last time you didn't pay into an ace pot, right?
Last time. I don't care if all the holes are 560 feet on this. I'm paying in. I'm paying in every time.
I feel, man. I feel it only happens one time. That's the mistake you make once.
Yep.
All right, 2 more questions from Billy. If you had to pick one type of disc, would you play a better round with putters or drivers?
Dude, I'd go in between. If there was an in between option, I'd say mid range. It's the most similar to like the frisbees I grew up throwing that you could get distance out of. I know putters are bad, but I really, really rely on my mid ranges a lot, up to 400 feet in the woods, in the open. I love the M2 specifically right now, and I've got this green one that I think that I could one disc play anybody in the world with.
All right, last question from Billy. Being one of a handful of players that show up to nearly every event, what things do you do on tour to help break up the grind and the road life?
That's the rocks, man. That's definitely the rocks. I do drive around a lot, and I've got things that I have to do on specific days that most disc golfers don't. Like every day before the tournament is skins, and it's almost a wasted practice day for me. So I have to get out there and dig some rocks or go for a hike or something. I gotta like get my heart beating in a weird way, a scary way, jump over some ravines or a river or something like that, just to get a little adrenaline, and to feel nature.
Cool.
All right. So Ben Davidson asks, "What's Hogan's PDGA number?"
Man, he needs one. Is that even legal? I saw that question and I got to thinking, like, I guess, I mean, if it's legal, you got to make it happen.
Yeah, I think so. So when you were talking to our producer, did he tell you that you had to have Hogan during this interview?
He mentioned that, yes. And actually, Hogan, you didn't even have to tell him. I think he either reads my texts or he's just in the know because he showed up in this office and laid down on the ground right as we started.
Yeah. So he knows that was me. I told Kevin, I was like, "Hey, you got to tell Luke, man, that we need Hogan on here, or I don't know if we can do it. We need Hogan."
Yeah. I heard it was a package deal, and I made sure to.
All right,
Ryan.
Over to you, Mark.
Ryan, I think you saw this on Facebook, Luke, and Ryan Minkoff is wondering which crystal helps you play better.
Minkoff, good buddy. He remembers me when I was garbage. Not many do, but Ryan, thank you. Man, there's this specific green mineral from Arkansas that I really love. I'm actually wearing a necklace, a cabochon I made of it right now. It's called Wavelite, and I don't know if people can see it. I mean, obviously you can't see it at home when we're just talking, but it's a green fibrous mineral that is very rare for it to be hard enough for you to polish. So there's this one spot in Arkansas where it comes from that you can make necklaces out of, and that's my jam. I love Wavelite. It's found in Australia, Pennsylvania, maybe another spot in Arkansas. So the real rare, and nobody has anything good compared to Arkansas. The Australian stuff's pale yellow. Pennsylvania's pale yellow. It's garbage compared to Arkansas, which is awesome. Keep a little bit of the natural state on me at all times.
Awesome. All right, Brandon, back to you.
All right, Lucas Murray asks, "What course would you like to see added to the 2023 tour?"
Eagles Crossing, easy. That place is next level. It's the future of disc golf. The owner, Philip Samuels, has taken so much thought and preparation into putting that course together. It's ready for spectators. It's ready for cameras. It's not just a course in the middle of the woods that can't handle what we're doing as a sport nowadays. It's been thought out. He's got huge tee boxes. I mean, I think he's well over $600,000 into this project right now. The course didn't have any grass on it. He's planted all that grass, and now there's lush fairways through tight gaps. It's next level, man. I can't wait for the best in the world to go out there and play it. And I think it'll happen for sure by the 2023.
What is your biggest pet peeve doing around that someone on your card does? You don't have to name any names.
Man,
But you can.
Taking a bunch of time is a problem for me. It's one of the things that I've struggled with most on the pro tour is waiting 15 minutes at tee box to throw my shot. It's just, it's not how I practice typically, which makes it an adjustment as well. But it's also just like, it's stressful. It's stressful for me. It gets me out of my game, man. It's something I really need to work on is watching people take forever and not being mad about it. I think as our sport progresses, we're going to have more rules because what they're doing is illegal at this point. You're not allowed to take that much time on the course on your shot. And so it is illegal what they're doing, which makes it maybe a little more aggravating for me that it's being allowed so frequently. It's the main thing that sucks for me. If I've got to wait 15 minutes at tee box, when I show up at the tee box, I got a 10:35 shot in me, and 15 minutes later, I got a 9:95 shot in me. It's just I don't care as much about the shot. It's hard for me to focus, and it's something I'm working on. But that's the main thing, man. It literally, like, if you look at the VPO last year, I shot 1050, 990, 1050. And that 990 round, I waited 15 minutes at tee box, every tee box. And it's obvious. If you look at my scores, I'm either, there's a 25, 30 point difference in my rounds. And it's either I waited and it sucked and I got mad and I just kind of got heated up. And by the end of it, I wasn't in it. Or we played some, fairly free flowing golf and I was able to just golf.
Cool. Yeah, I feel that too. I can't stand waiting longer than I have to for the card in front of me to tee off or throw their shot, or it takes you out of your rhythm. So
it does indeed.
All right.
It's something the best in the world are really good at though, because Paul's going to sit on that tee box for 15 minutes and he's going to throw a 1060 rated shot. Guarantee that. So, there's people that are doing it properly. I just need to work on that part of my game.
All right. Eric in Texas, and it's Eric Basile. He was one of the founders of the battalion team.
Okay.
He would like to know, if you had to pick 3 discs in your bag, what molds would they be?
If I only was playing with 3, man, that A5, the distortion, either one.
Jealous.
They're I was flex lines with it, forehand, backhand, super comfortable with that one. And that could overlap into the mid range too, because I was throwing it 330, 340 on these lines and pumping it as hard as I could. I mean, it takes every bit of torque that you give it and continues with that good flight. So that the FX3 is unbelievable. And then a D2 probably. I think I could putt with an A5 at this point. So I'd say that right now, but you could also probably catch me P Model S M2 Falcor, It'd be something like that.
Right. I run a 3-disc league here in Ohio in the winter, and my main 3 discs I played all winter was MX3, PX3, and then PA3.
Okay.
Those were like my go-to discs. And then I eventually bumped up to an F5 as the weather got a little bit nicer. But
yeah, F5 is a really good disc.
I've got 3 of them in the bag right now. I think it is hands down my go-to driver.
I think you're really going to like the FX3 then. For the effort that you're putting in, there's not a disc that I know of that's going to have that much glide and get you that much distance. It's just the easiest thrower, predictable flight. It's going to be a weapon. I predicted it to be disc of the year before I threw the Falcor. So I don't know, man. I think we got like 3 discs in there.
All right.
Did we jump again?
No, we're good.
No, we got you.
All right, one final fan question, and this takes you back to 2018. Michael Grummert, why did you have to play AM Worlds in 18? I would have won if it wasn't for you. Way to crush Luke.
Man, I got a Brock Cummings shout out. The man who really made fun of me enough to where I went to AM Worlds. I was like, with the ball golf background, I was just going to play AM golf and continue selling packaging and shipping supplies. There was no intention of ever going pro at disc golf. It wasn't something I thought about when I started doing this. So they were like, why are you staying AM? What's the point? Why don't you just go do Worlds? And I was like, all right, fine, shut up. I'll play Worlds, whatever. So blame Brock Cummings. And as far as Michael Grimmert goes, boy, I'm pretty sure that I fanboyed you to that second place finish. I think without my support, you may have gotten fourth.
I believe you won by 14 strokes, actually.
Yeah, man. That comes from the USADGC up in Milford, Michigan, which I gave away the win there like 2 months before that. I was in the lead going into the final round, played not my best golf, watched my now buddy Clint Calvin play some great golf. But looking back, it was something that I felt like I should have won. And I had like a 12-hour ride back, and it ate at me, dude. It ate at me. I wasn't going to give another one away. I sold fireworks every year for like 12 years until that point. That was my last year selling fireworks as well. And that kind of went downhill. I got screwed by a couple different business partners. So I gave away the USDGC, which I felt like I got screwed. I got screwed actually out of thousands of dollars, like up close to $10,000 in that summer. And then like a week later, I went to Worlds. So I was sick of getting screwed. I was not going to let my foot off the gas. And I got stroked second round for a bad card. My score was wrong. So I felt like I got screwed again. The next day, they took out holes that were unplayable because of rain later in the day. I birdied both those holes. I was the only person in the field that did. So they took away my birdies again. So like every single day, I was just like, they're not going to do this to me. I'm not going to get screwed. And I stayed on it because of all the experiences in the previous 2 months. That was, 14 stroke. And I wanted every one of them.
Man, that sounds rough. It's a rough stretch.
Yeah, but it was for a reason. I'm sitting here right now because of that. I think, if I hadn't won AM Worlds, I don't know that Kai at Pro Discus would have reached out to me. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet Chad Scruggs, who was the guy who kind of was the in-between for Kai and I. And I, my time at Pro Discus was up and down, but I have to thank Kai for giving me the opportunity to at least go out there and see if it was something that I'd be interested in doing or had the game to do. In 2019, to win Rookie of the Year, finish strong at home, take down the VPO, really sealed the deal with that win. It concreted in my mind something, disc golf is something that I could do in the future.
Well, that's awesome. You got a good story, man. Just everything that you've been through with disc golf and getting into it and where you're at now. It's truly a one of a kind story.
It's a story that involves a lot of people too, and I want to make sure and make that clear. This is not something I could have ever accomplished by myself if it wasn't for the Nate Perkins, the Emerson Keiths, the Steven Stories, the Nick Hunts, my parents. It's a group effort here. The GK boys, there's a family out here, man, and I sometimes am in front of the camera to express stuff for the family, but it's more about the family than it is me.
Well, Luke, we really appreciate you taking time out of your day and whatnot to join us and do this interview. Hopefully we can get you back on maybe next year at this time frame or later on this year at the end of the season. But truly appreciate it, and best of luck coming up in your events.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's been an honor to be here with you guys. Thanks for making the time. It was a pleasure, and we'll definitely do it again if it works for y'all.
Thank you, man.